Hollywood always described Robert Duvall the same way: calm, disciplined, respected. For more than 50 years, he was the actor other actors admired, the professional who never chased fame, never played the game, and never begged for attention. While others chased headlines, Duvall retreated to his farm, rode horses, studied human behavior, and waited for roles that felt real. He was seen as the steady center of American cinema, a man guided by craft rather than ego. But behind that quiet image lived a long memory and a deep sense of justice. At the age of 94, when most legends soften their past, Duvall did the opposite. He finally spoke openly about the people who disappointed him most, and the name shocked Hollywood. They were not enemies from outside. They were his heroes, his friends, and even his teachers. All of them were giants. For years, Duvall avoided gossip. He rarely criticized colleagues and almost never explained his choices. That silence led many to believe he was above conflict. The truth was simpler and colder. He never forgot betrayal. He believed acting was about respect, discipline, and honesty. Anyone who violated those values, no matter how famous, eventually crossed an invisible line. When that happened, Duvall walked away and never looked back. One of the most painful breaks of his life involved Al Pacino. In the early 1970s, they were inseparable. Both were struggling actors, sharing an apartment in Beverly Glen, eating cheap food, and dreaming about the future. They weren't just friends, they were brothers. They rehearsed together, talked about theater late into the night, and believed they were climbing the same mountain side by side. When The Godfather changed their lives, that bond seemed unbreakable. But time and money have a way of testing loyalty. By the time The Godfather Part 3 was being prepared, the balance had shifted. Paramount sent out contracts, and the difference was impossible to ignore. Pacino was offered $5 million plus a share of the profits. Duvall was offered $1 million flat. To the studio, it was business. To Duvall, it was a message. He was no longer equal. He was background. Duvall didn't argue or negotiate. He read the contract, folded it, and walked away. Hours later, Francis Ford Coppola received a short message from him. Duvall made it clear he would not return just to stand behind someone else. That single decision ended a friendship that had lasted decades. Pacino refused to lower his salary. Duvall refused to compromise his dignity. When the film premiered without him, critics noticed something was missing. Many said the heart of the story was gone. Years later, Duvall said you cannot preach family on screen while ignoring it off screen. The words were simple, but the damage was permanent. Even when they stood near each other at award ceremonies years later, they did not speak. Two brothers, separated forever by silence. The pain didn't end there. Francis Ford Coppola was not just a colleague to Duvall. He was a mentor. In 1971, Coppola changed Duvall's life with a single sentence during casting. He pointed at him and said he had found his Tom Hagen. That role made Duvall a star and cemented their creative bond. Duvall trusted Coppola completely. He believed the man understood actors and respected the craft. That belief slowly eroded. During the filming of Apocalypse Now, the cracks began to show. The shoot was brutal. The heat was unbearable. During the famous napalm scene, Duvall collapsed from dehydration. His lips cracked, his body failed him, and he vomited blood. Coppola looked at him and asked for another take because the light was not right. Duvall obeyed, but something inside him changed. The film won awards, but the respect he once had for his teacher never fully returned. Years later, The Godfather Part 3 contract reopened the wound. Coppola defended the studio's offer, even as Duvall felt humiliated. Coppola tried to apologize afterward. He wrote letters. He explained himself. Duvall never replied. What began as admiration ended as distance. They never truly reconciled. In Duvall's mind, Coppola had chosen power over principle. Another figure who deeply disappointed him was Marlon Brando. Before meeting him, Duvall worshipped Brando. He studied his performances obsessively and believed he was witnessing the highest form of acting. That illusion shattered on the set of The Godfather. Brando arrived late, avoided rehearsals, and treated the process like a game. He taped lines to walls and even to other actors' backs. Dialogue changed without warning. What looked like genius to some felt like chaos to Duvall. Duvall believed acting required preparation and respect for fellow performers. Brando's behavior undermined that. When Paramount secretly paid Brando extra money, Duvall felt insulted, not just for himself, but for the craft. The final break came at the Oscars in 1973, when Brando rejected his award through a public protest. Many applauded the gesture. Duvall did not. He believed Brando turned their shared work into a spectacle. From that moment on, admiration turned into contempt. When Brando died years later, Duvall did not attend the funeral. Instead, he sent a short message that said everything was finished. For him, Brando became a symbol of everything wrong with Hollywood. Talent without responsibility. Stanley Kubrick was different. Duvall never worked with him, but his dislike was intense and philosophical. In public discussions late in life, Duvall openly criticized Kubrick's methods. He said Kubrick treated actors like tools, forcing them through endless takes until emotion was drained rather than discovered. To Duvall, performance was a living thing, not something manufactured through exhaustion. After watching footage of Shelley Duvall being pushed through countless takes during The Shining, his feelings hardened. He described it as torture disguised as art. Kubrick once invited him to discuss a project, but the meeting only reinforced his discomfort. Kubrick spoke endlessly about lighting and camera movement and never once mentioned emotion. Duvall left feeling cold, as if the human element had been erased. When others praised Kubrick as a visionary, Duvall refused to join in. He acknowledged the intelligence but denied the heart. His rivalry with Robert and Niro was quieter but just as real. There were no public arguments or dramatic confrontations. Instead, there was distance. Duvall respected Niro's talent but rejected his approach. He believed extreme transformations, weight changes, and accents distracted from truth. When Duvall once said De Niro was very good at playing Italians, it sounded polite, but it carried sharp meaning. To Duvall, acting lived in silence, restraint, and inner life. He believed method acting, taken too far, became self-indulgent. While Hollywood celebrated De Niro's transformations, Duvall saw obsession. When De Niro later appeared in comedies, Duvall quietly noted that the mask was slipping. De Niro never responded publicly. Both men remained civil, but they avoided each other for decades. The final name on Duvall's personal blacklist surprised many. Bruce Beresford gave Duvall his only Oscar with Tender Mercies, yet their relationship was poisoned by conflict. Beresford pushed for endless retakes, trying to control Duvall's rhythm. Duvall believed the character demanded simplicity. When the director refused to listen, Duvall secretly filmed a key scene alone at dawn. That unauthorized take became the emotional core of the film. When Duvall won the Oscar, he thanked everyone except Beresford. The silence was louder than any speech. The media noticed immediately. Beresford admitted they could never work together again. Duvall never apologized. He believed loyalty to the character mattered more than loyalty to authority. In the end, Robert Duvall's story is not about hatred. It is about boundaries. He believed respect mattered more than fame, and integrity mattered more than awards. He walked away from legends because he refused to compromise his values. While others chased power, he chose distance. That choice left scars, but it also preserved his sense of self. At 94, when Duvall finally spoke, it wasn't to shock the world. It was to tell the truth as he saw it. Hollywood may remember him as calm and disciplined, but beneath that calm was a man who never forgot who crossed the line.